Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Midnight Mindscapes, where I share my wildest and weirdest dreams. Tonight, it's my first day back at Penn State, but what starts off normal quickly spirals into absurdity. From dance-offs gone wrong to robot butlers, things get strange. Fast. This is the chocolate conspiracy.
I decided to head back to school, to Penn State University. I thought it was going to be all lecture halls and library hours, but boy, was I wrong. On my first day, I ran into Leo, good old Leo, my high school buddy. We hadn't seen each other in years, but we picked up right where we left off, joking around and reminiscing while we hopped on a bus together. Leo asked me to grab our stuff as we were getting ready to get off. Naturally, I had way too much random crap. My book bag, a box of donuts, a bag of gummy worms, and a whole collection of stuff I didn't remember bringing. Then, in the middle of trying to organize my life, I saw it, just chilling there on the seat like it belonged, a handgun. What the? Instead of freaking out, externally at least, I did what any normal person would do. I panicked and tried to sneak it into my sweatshirt pocket. That seemed like a solid plan at the time. Then a kid across the aisle pointed and yelled, "Look, Mommy, she has chocolate." Chocolate. Right. Totally chocolate. I gave a half smile and looked around for an escape. Unfortunately, Leo was already off the bus, and there I was, stuck. I had to wait for the next stop, trying to act like everything was normal. You know, normal for someone holding a bag of gummy worms, donuts, and a handgun. Finally, the bus stopped again, and I bolted off, carrying way too much stuff. I started walking, trying to catch up with Leo, but as I got closer to campus, I ran into a group of students handing out pamphlets about paying for college. Because clearly that's what I needed at the moment, a financial aid lecture. But I listened, nodding along as one of them rambled about loan options, all the while remembering that the gun was still in my sweatshirt pocket. It was starting to weigh me down, and I just knew it was making me look suspicious. So, while the guy kept talking, I slid the gun into one of my bags, hoping no one would notice. After handing over a random paper from my book bag, I hurried off to find Leo. When I finally caught up, he saw me from a distance and waved. "Hey! There you are?" "Yeah, finally," I said, exhausted from carrying all the stuff and juggling the stress of almost being mistaken for a chocolate-carrying criminal. We headed inside to study. As I dumped my bags onto the table, out tumbled the bag of gummy worms, followed by a bunch of old phones. Yep. Random old phones. No idea why they were there, but it hit me. They would make great play phones for my kid. I grabbed one of them and handed it to her. It lit up and started making noises, and her face lit up even brighter. She was obsessed. Time passed, and we found ourselves walking up a hill with a group of friends. We were just hanging out when 6 of them suddenly decided to show off this dance they'd been working on. They stood in this bowling pin formation, like they had choreographed the whole thing, while the rest of us watched. Everything was going fine, until one of the girls in the middle nearly fainted. Luckily, the person behind her caught her just in time, like some weird trust fall gone wrong. While we were still trying to make sure she was okay, this random person started walking through a tumbling pass right toward our friend who was still on the ground. They went right into a back tuck, landing next to her, and then had the nerve to say we were in their way. Once we got our friend back on her feet, we all decided it was time to leave. As we walked away, I couldn't resist. I flicked them off with my hands behind my back, struggling to get my middle finger up properly. Of course, they saw it and yelled, "You can't even flick us off, right?" I didn't even have a comeback, just kept walking, pretending I hadn't heard them. It was one of those moments where I should have been embarrassed, but at this point, I was way too tired to care. As we continued on, we ran into this group of super chill people who were doing something with hair extensions. They asked if I wanted some, and I thought, why not? They clipped on these braids, and when I looked in the mirror, the braids spelled out the name Halia. No idea why, but at this point, nothing was making sense anyway, so I just went with it. After the whole hair braiding session, with Halia literally hanging from my head, we continued up the hill. I was just trying to shake off the weirdness of the day when I spotted someone I recognized. Someone from work. "Hey!" I called out, waving as we got closer. He turned around, but something was off. He was acting all jittery, bouncing on his feet, his eyes darting around like he was waiting for something, or avoiding someone. I tried making small talk, but it was like I wasn't even there. Mid-sentence, he just mumbled something that sounded like, "Gotta go," and bolted into a nearby store. No goodbye. No explanation. Just gone. I stood there, blinking in confusion, and then it hit me. Wait, did he see it? The chocolate? The thing I'd been lugging around all day but had almost forgotten about again? My heart skipped a beat. Surely he didn't notice, right? I nervously adjusted my bag, as if that would somehow make everything less suspicious. At this point, it was just another layer of bizarre on a day that couldn't seem to stop throwing weird at me. We finally made it to the top of the hill, out of breath and still reeling from the day's chaos. At the peak stood this house, a big, fancy-looking place that seemed a little too posh for what I was expecting. It even had a butler. Well, not a real butler. More like a robot butler. The thing stood stiffly by the door, its mechanical arms poised in that awkwardly formal way, like it was waiting for some grand entrance. I decided to try talking to it because, at this point, why not? Hi? I said, not sure how to start a conversation with a robot. "Can you let us in?" The robot whirred to life, its eyes flickering. But before it could respond, someone burst through the door, panting like they'd just run a marathon. They started yelling things we couldn't even understand, their words coming out in a rushed, chaotic mess. Before I could react, the robot stiffened and called out, "Thorm!" What? Who's Thorm? What is happening right now? I had no idea what was going on, so I just stayed out of it. I backed up slowly, pretending to be very interested in anything else but the unfolding scene in front of me. The last thing I needed was to be roped into some robot butler gun-related drama. As the commotion continued, I kept a low profile, hoping this Thorm business would resolve itself, without me and my chocolate becoming the next main attraction.
Thank you for joining my Midnight Mindscapes. Till we dream again.